This is my crashed Audi S3 that I bought from auction from the insurance company. When I bid on this car at auction, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was marked as structural damage. I am a complete beginner and structural damage is way out of my league. Oh my god, I'm scared. So buying this car, I knew I was up for the big dollars. But we fixed the side radiator, we got a new crash bar and radiator support. We fixed the seatbelts that were locked up, throwing up airbag faults. Woo woo! We made an attempt at fixing the headlights, and we got the car on a jig to get the frame rails pulled back. You're watching Built, Not Bought. Now today is a great day because we are finally putting it all together. This car is no longer going to look like an absolute mess. We're fitting the hood, the bumper, and we're finally fixing up those headlights for good. Little did I know this was going to take me multiple days. Some things wouldn't fit, some things were harder than I thought, and at the end, no. We've got a new hood and bumper. I managed to get the same color hood as the original one. As for the bumper, I thought it would look much better to get an RS3 style front bumper. The main difference being the holes are a little bit bigger on the RS3 style bumper than this one. Now this thing is not painted and we will have to do that eventually. So this thing comes with a few parts. How good does that look? Just to give you a bit of an idea, that is the S3 grille. Instead of the grille going from the front, I think it comes from the back, which means I think this piece here is literally just for support. So I think I just need to cut it off. I paid 1,000 Australian for this, which was in my mind a little bit much, but when compared to the price of a normal S3 bumper, it's actually pretty on par and it looks just that bit better. I bought this one from Body Kit Kingdom. They did give me a bit of a discount, and it's a little bit interesting to me that when you buy the bumper, you've got to do a bit of cutting to make things fit. The bumper itself is made of the same plastic as on the OEM bumper, so fiberglass, if you give it a good hit, it'll just crack, it won't flex. I'm sweating, but how good does that look? Those grills are wide. And just here you can see how good the RS3 bumper looks compared to the S3 bumper. And stick around because next time I'm actually going to be painting this myself with absolutely no experience. Next up was to pull all the parking sensors and the headlight washers off the old bumper and put them on the new one. Got everything off, but I realized that the left washer jet is actually missing the top of it. Even when I was taking the right one off of the cover, I accidentally snapped the side pieces off. So I'm going to need 2 of these, but for now I'm just going to leave these covers like that and continue. I've just noticed the difference between the RS3 and the S3 bumper. If you have a look at the S3 bumper, we've got 1, 2, and 3 parking sensor locations. And on the RS3, 1, 2, and no third. Okay, so here's the thing. All of the parking sensors are like flat, right? Except when you get to this side one, it's like indented. But I will definitely have to drill a hole in this to be able to stick it on, because it's going to be a lot harder for me to be able to cancel out the extra parking sensors from the wiring loom. On the old bumper, these are what the parking sensors clip into. We're going to use a heat gun to get them off of this one and then use some JB welds to plastic bond it to the new bumper. This is a drill bit to make holes. It's called a step-up bit, I think. You start drilling and then gradually it'll make the hole bigger and bigger. We need to make it as big as this. So if we measure it loosely, it's about 19 mil. So if we cut it to 18, we should be all right. I've made a little mark. I spent a lot of money on this bumper, so wish me luck. I've just dropped $1,000 on this bumper, and drilling these holes, I do not want to stuff them up. But I bought this car to challenge myself to do new things and put myself outside my comfort zone. After a very quick sand around the inside, you can see we fit perfectly. It actually holds itself in there. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing was I had to make sure it was far enough down so it was actually going to clear all of this piece here. So hopefully I measured that right. These two look a bit closer than those two, but hey, as long as it works, I'm pretty happy. All right, so now we're going to use some JB Weld to glue these little black pieces so it'll actually hold the bumper sensors. But if you remember from last time, I still haven't finished the headlights, so we're going to do both at the same time. Here we go. Now with these headlights, it's going to be a bit of a game of operation. Last time we used JB Weld, which is plastic bond, to bond the broken pieces of the headlight together. In the end, I wish I didn't buy these repair tabs. They're about 200 Australian, and I could have just gotten away with the JB Weld. That is stuck on there. I've never used JB Weld before, but this is like amazing to me. Anyway, I still have to sand these tabs down because at the moment, this isn't fitting. Also on this replacement tab, there's no thread in it. So my plan is to sand down the thread and pop it in with some JB Weld. That'll definitely be strong enough to hold the headlight. And remember, there's 3 other mounting points for the headlight. Got it through. If there's one thing I've learned from this, JB Weld is way stronger than I thought it was. and it's completely fine.
And to hold in these parking sensors, we're going to get these clips off the old bumper, clip the sensor into place, and then hold it on with JB Weld to permanently mount it to the bumper.
Alright, so JB Weld.
You squirt the tube in. This JB Weld is plastic bonder. It's a 2-part solution with plastic and activator that helps harden the mix. Mix it around for a little bit, apply it to the broken area, and then let it sit. Once it's cured, you can even sand it down.
We have made a lot of progress, and I am absolutely stoked with this front bumper. I really feel like this is an achievement. I know it's a small thing, but it's something that I've never done before, so it feels kind of special to me that I was able to do that. It's the next day, and we have some results. This is the new tab, and as you can see, pretty damn sturdy. And here is the very messy job that I've done with the plastic weld on the back of this, and from the other side, it looks completely fine. Let's move on with the hood. First part of getting the hood off is taking the washer blades off. So we need a special tool to grab onto the wiper blade and then push it out.
While you're watching me struggle with these wiper blades, if you like this content, you're watching Built, Not Bought, and this is one video in a series of videos rebuilding cars. I'm rebuilding this one for me. As soon as this is done, I've really been missing the motorbike I've sold. So if you want to follow along this series, hit the subscribe button. We also have Turbo Tales, where we talk about engineering, car culture, and car news. Putting the bumper on now, just screwing in the bolts and leaving it in loose.
All right, so the hood is on, and if you look at this side, it all lines up fairly well. The hood's not latched. I've found out that the hood latch on this side seems to be broken or bent. It's not latching properly. But when you look at this side, you see it's a little bit wide, a little bit wide, a little bit wide, wide. Oh, it's horrible. You can see that this is actually bent out that way. This should be straight. You shouldn't be able to see any of this. Admittedly, now I'm starting to get a bit stressed. I have that thing booked in for an inspection on the 1st of May, which I'm now thinking it's not gonna be ready in time. It needs a roadworthy certificate before then. But hey, it's all a learning experience, and I didn't buy this car to make profit on it. I bought it to drive it. So, all right, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm gonna heat that metal on the side here and just try and push this fender. I don't really know if that's gonna work, but so far it's my best bet.
When I saw this was bent, I was stressed out. I'm running all this on very little money, so each thing that goes wrong just makes the pressure build that much more. I make it look quick here, but I spend hours heating and pushing and heating and pushing and heating and pushing and heating and pushing till I finally got it to a point that looked pretty damn good.
I am pretty happy with this. Take a look. This is the good side. This is the bad side. Keeping in mind, this hood isn't latched still. This hood latch won't open fully. So if I close it, I'm not gonna be able to get the bonnet open again. For a few hours spent heating and pushing on a panel, I am pretty stoked with the way this has turned out. I still do need to line the hood up. It's definitely sitting too high, but I think we put the headlights in and see how it looks. Oh, look at that. Oh, I am absolutely stoked about this. Look, I'm just gonna say, I started this like months ago. Like I bought this late last year and it is finally nearly ready. To be this close feels so good. Good news, I got 2 new washers. Bad news is they're the wrong ones. This is the one I pulled off the car. As you can see, it's flat out at the edge, meaning this is just not gonna fit on the car, which is damn annoying. But I do have some good news. This is the hood latch, and as you can see, when you pop the hood or the bonnet, that happens, but it's meant to go all the way up like that. Having a look at this, do you see that pit right there, right next to my thumbnail? It's just pushing on the edge there. So I think I might be able to get a pick and pull that out. Absolutely manglated that rubber bit, but look, pops all the way up. So I'm just gonna cut that little piece off and then chuck it back in the car and it should work. Now I'm gonna spend some time lining the bonnet up because it's just a bit low here and just a bit high here.
Now just below here where we replaced the radiator, we actually got it off an A3. Now the duct that directs the air towards the radiator is different on the A3 compared to the S3. So we've got a brand new S3 one to put on just to match the other side.
It's pretty nuts this thing isn't held in by bolts or anything. But now that matches that, let's test fit the bumper. My only concern with putting the bumper on is this cruise control sensor. Now, this bracket pushes that further back. Supposedly we need this to be able to fit the RS3 bumper. The thing is, if you misalign that sensor with the battery connected, or even shift it around at all, supposedly you need to take that to Audi to get recalibrated. Now with OBD11, I did see a setting in there to recalibrate it, but I don't really know if that's gonna work, and I don't really wanna stuff around with it if I don't have to. So let's fix it up. As I was saying here, this is definitely pretty low. So I think I'm gonna disconnect the battery and then pull this up.
I saw a couple of YouTube videos about this, but it really was just as simple as bolting it on and off. All it does is raise the sensor up higher to be in line with the RS3 style bumper.
And it's all lowered down.
Putting the bumper on, I'm a little bit worried. It is an aftermarket bumper, and as we all know, they usually don't fit pretty well. But I will admit, I have been pleasantly surprised with the quality.
Okay, it's finally on. Yeah, the bumper's still gonna need some finagling and whatever. It's popping out on both sides, but that is okay. We can sort that out. As you can see here, this is much more in line. It is looking much more like an actual car now. Last thing for the night before I pack up is I'm gonna scan the fault codes and see if anything comes up, because everything should be clear. I've got all the sensors plugged in. I am a little bit worried about that cruise control sensor and whether or not it gives me the misaligned fault code, but really this should clear everything. Fingers crossed and knock wood. It is officially past my bedtime. I'm just plugging in the OBD2. It is 10:52.
I know that noise. That's Audi's very bad noise.
Huh.
Staring at the screen in front of me, I can see transmission faults, engine faults, tire pressure faults, everything.
There was a lot of faults that just came up. 32 faults.
I thought it might be because I disconnected the battery, so I thought I'd clear the codes.
I'm gonna go ahead and clear these.
But it didn't work. It's late at night, I have work tomorrow. I was on a high thinking that everything was done, and then this.